everyone, this is Kyle from Demon and Me, and you're listening to Concert Crap.
What's up, guys? This is Corey here with Concert Crap, and I'm here speaking with Kyle from the band Demon in Me. How you doing today, man?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks once again for doing this, man. All right, your debut LP, Here's Your Way Out, is out on September 2nd. How proud are you of this release?
Oh, we're really excited. It's been a long time coming. The album took about 2 years to write, engineer, and produce, and everything. It's been taking a lot of patience, but we're really proud of the way that it came out. We're stoked to get it out.
What are some of your best moments when creating the album?
The actual recording experience was really fun. When the album was being recorded, I actually didn't have any band members at the time, so I had a lot of studio musicians come in, and it was just really cool to get not only the producers' input, but also a lot of other really talented local musicians that came in to track various instruments and even co-write some of the material. So that was really cool. It just made the record a lot better than it would have been if I did everything on my own.
You said you didn't have any band members before this. Like, what took longer, to get the band members or to create the music?
Well, when the project started, it started as just a two-man project with me and one of my buddies, and then just decided to kind of write and see what happened. And then I went into the studio. I was just a lot more concerned with getting material down and getting everything ready to go for a release than I was at finding the right band members. I didn't really want to rush that process because it's a very important component when it comes to being in any project. Is finding some dedicated members who have the same drive and vision as you do, and I don't feel like that's something that can be rushed. So I just kind of took my time finding members and really just wanted to focus more on the material. So I guess my main focal point at the time was just not really centered around formulating a typical 4 or 5 piece band. I think my focal point was more centered around just writing the best material I could.
Mm-hmm. You guys have released Enough's Enough, and yesterday you released the single Bruised Hands so far for the album. What's been the feedback on those?
It's been super positive, which is really relieving and cool. Yeah, we're very excited that the people are excited about it. And that's enough. The music video, when we dropped the music video, that was the biggest release I've ever been a part of. Mm-hmm. We got more shares and action, and drove a lot of traffic to our various social media sites and so on and so forth. So that was really exciting for us to go through as a band. And then Bruised Hands got good reception too. We released these 2 songs on purpose because they're probably the most polar opposite that you can get on the record. Yeah. One's a little heavier and faster, and the other one's a little bit more catchy and poppy. So we just kind of wanted to show everybody the versatility behind the record. Yeah,
I noticed that. I was listening to both of them this morning. They like you said, they're completely like polar opposites. Which one do you prefer to play? Like the more loud and aggressive stuff, or like the slower and softer stuff?
I was just talking to I was talking to my drummer about this last night. Uh-huh. Honestly, they're both. We play both of them live, and we'll be playing both of them live for a while, I'm sure. I think personally that I enjoy playing the more upbeat, heavier stuff live, just because of the energy factor. But when it comes down to sitting and listening to something, I actually prefer more of the Bruised Hands style of music. Personally, when it comes to just listening and hanging out and paying attention to songwriting and stuff like that. But when it comes to a live performance, I'm much more inclined to be into the heavier, higher energy stuff. That's to be expected, right?
Uh-huh. All right. You guys are from Northern California. What would you say is the best thing about growing your music in that area?
Oh, the scene is ridiculous out here. There's a lot of, in a good way, there's a lot of really good competition, and I totally mean that wholeheartedly. There's so many good bands, and everybody is so driven, and it's really cool to be surrounded by not only like-minded artists, but just all of these like-minded artists have a following that all seem to also be like-minded when it comes to the idea of supporting local music and coming out to shows and sharing and talking about all these local bands. And it's really, I'm totally blessed because going on tour and talking to other bands and even living in various places for a short while, I've noticed a huge difference, and I think that we're spoiled. You know, on one end, it is a little bit more difficult because there's so many musicians out here with the San Francisco South Bay area. There's a lot of music out here, but you know, on the other end, that's a huge positive because there's so much life. So it's been really cool.
If you could take your music and spend like weeks or even months in a new city to have your music grow, where would you want to take it and why?
Oh man, it's a tough question because I could be selfish and just tell you where I want to live, or I can tell you where I think it would be the most effective for the band. I love Chicago. I've always been in love with that whole area. I actually really like the Midwest in general. I like the people out there, but Chicago is probably number one on the list. The scene there is very cool. I've only been to a few shows out there, but probably the Chicago area. I like the Arizona scene a lot. Arizona is a little bit smaller than the South Bay, where we're from, as far as the scene is concerned, but they all seem to have the same ideal, very supportive, and a lot of good bands come out of that area. So I would probably say, if it weren't for the heat, Arizona, and then Chicago for my own selfish reasons, because I love the city, and LA would probably be number 3. That's
funny. You kept like the same theme going. Those are like polar opposites, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, definitely.
Who are some artists, past and present, that inspire you to do what you do with your music?
There's a lot. This is always a hard question. You'd think I'd like get better at answering this question. I'm so terrible at answering this question. And it's definitely not a secret that we're pretty heavily influenced by, you know, the early to mid 2000s bands in kind of the punk rock alternative, I guess emo, screamo type genres. Very influenced by Brand New and Just Lazy songwriting. I'm very influenced by Ascenders and Early November. Pretty heavily influenced in Bayside and Taking Back Sunday. A lot of bands like that. And they're not only their songwriting and their lyrical content, but also the longevity and the timelessness of their music is actually the most important thing, in my opinion. That's something that I strive to emulate in our own music.
All right, man. Is there anything else you would like to say to your fans or anybody that might be listening to this interview right now?
Yeah, first of all, thanks. I appreciate anyone who's taken the time to check us out, and anyone who's supported us along the way, any new supporters that we may obtain from this interview. You know, thanks a million times over. We can't express, you know, how thankful we are to have such a supportive group. And something I always like to say at the end of any interview we do is you know, shout out to anybody who's in a band, anybody who's in a touring band or a local band, or any kid in his room just with songwriting ideas. Just, you know, keep going. Like, nobody can stop you but you, and you're completely in charge of your own destiny, especially in the music world, and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. So, other than that, man, I appreciate everything you're doing.
All right, man. Thank you once again, Kyle. For everybody listening, make sure to visit concertcrap.com for more interviews, reviews, and so much more on all things music. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This has been Corey with Concert Crap, and we will see you guys next time.